We have a massive update regarding the Boston Bruins' plans to make some major changes in the front office. We're going to be breaking those down, as well as an update on the Bruins' plans for this offseason, with tonight being the final game of the regular season. We're going to be talking about what they need to do to make sure the Bruins put themselves in the perfect spot heading towards this year's NHL draft, and finally finishing things off with a Charlie McAvoy update. We're going to be talking about all of that here in this video. And very quickly, before we get into it, be sure to go on Spotify, on Apple Music, go to our podcast, and go make sure to give those a like. Make sure to add them. Get your Bruins news on the road. We're going to have a lot of this coming here in this offseason, so wherever you may be, you do not want to miss it. We're going to have it all there for you guys, so make sure to go follow those, and you can get them on the road as well, so you can always watch them there and right here on YouTube. But without any further ado, let's get into this video. Touching on first the update regarding the Bruins staff update, or whatever the major update we're going to see tomorrow is. Frank Seravalli put this out right after I pretty much uploaded my video yesterday regarding of who it could be, whether it was Don Sweeney, whether it was Cam Neely, and both of those have been shut down. This is what Frank Seravalli had to say. Sources say no changes are expected in the Bruins front office. Both Don Sweeney and Cam Neely have been in lockstep, hard at work on the next iteration of the club. So it does seem, from what we've been kind of hoping, seeing all year, all season, that the Bruins front office is not going to be changing. We're very much expecting a change in the coaching staff, whether it be Joe Sacco, whether it be the rest of the coaching staff. We don't really know on that front yet, but I will continue to say Joe Sacco was a scapegoat here for this season to go out and ultimately just take the blunt of whatever was happening. Good on him for doing it. Good on him for trying to do what he could with this team, and I hope he does end up in a very good position. But a very important thing now is we're looking at no changes to the coaching, or the GM, CEO, president for now. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at not any changes that will actually put a major impact on the Bruins for this offseason, for next season. The report is the Bruins are going to be making the big change heading into next season. It's going to be a major impact on them, but with not those two, if it's not Cam Neely, if it's not Don Sweeney, I'm really wondering what it could be, who it could be, and how it will really impact the Boston Bruins. So, once again, if you guys have an idea of who this could be, put in the comments below. I'm very curious to see what you guys think, because I have a few in my mind. I don't really know just yet, but I really did expect something, maybe more of a Don Sweeney or Cam Neely type of move. But according to multiple reports on top of Frank Seravalli's, it is not going to be Don Sweeney. It is not going to be Cam Neely. So let me know what you think in the comments below of who it could be, because that was my initial thought, and I think a lot of you guys also thought that as well. But pretty much immediately after this, I saw some comments on the video saying that this report came out, and I knew that it was going to be just the timing of my luck. But looking at the outcome of this, it's going to be interesting to see who it is. But I want to head over to tonight's game, because we know that this season has not been what we wanted to. Don Sweeney, Cam Neely really taking the blunt of this from the fans, from everybody else, and heading into tonight's final game, it will cement us into either a 4th overall pick, what could be, up and down, of course, is still the lottery, but the 4th overall pick preliminary, or going down to 6th, potentially 7th overall in this year's draft. So we're going to be getting into that a little bit later, but right now the practice lines for tonight's game, this comes from Fluto Shinzawa yesterday. I don't believe there's a practice this morning, but Elias Lindholm, Pastrnak, Lauko, Zacha, Lysell, Kepke, Middlestat, Letary, Kuznetsov, Minton, and recently called up John Farinacci, John Beecher, Mark Kastelic. Mark Kastelic still injured, is not going to be playing for the rest of the season. Zadorov, Yogiariu, Low, Ryan Peake, and Brunette and Wotherspoon. Brunette also called up as well with John Farinacci, and then Charlie McAvoy there on that pairing at the end, who will also not be playing due to injury for the remainder of the season. And Swayman gets the net for tonight's final game of the Bruins regular season, and the Bruins season at that as a whole. And this lineup, we've seen some iterations of it here this season, but this is one where the Bruins are ready to go out here, go get this final loss to cement themselves in the 4th overall pick. But now we're looking at this lineup compared to where we are going to be here in this draft, and I want to pull up first where we are currently, because this game needs to be a loss. Let's not kind of sugarcoat things. The Bruins obviously want to win, but we need to see a loss here, because when we're looking at the points here on that right side, or right in the middle of this graphic, I should say, the Bruins currently sitting at 75 points. Seattle, they're at 76 for the Flyers, and 77 for Buffalo. Buffalo has 2 games left. Philly has 2 games left. Both those teams, not great. We know there's a possibility that they continue to lose. The Buffalo Sabres are on a 3-game losing streak. The Flyers are on a 1-game losing streak. Seattle and Boston both have 1 game left. They both won those ones. And just say, let's put this into perspective. The Bruins win tonight against the New Jersey Devils. Seattle comes out, loses. The Bruins move down to 5th overall. The Flyers continue to lose out for the remainder of the season. Then we see the Bruins go down to 6th overall. The Buffalo Sabres can still stay there. They have more regulation wins than the Boston Bruins, so they cannot move down. But a 4th to 6th round pick is a very different scenario here for the Boston Bruins. I'll be getting into those picks here and a little bit later in this video, as well as, of course, throughout the offseason as we get into this draft. But Joe Sacco had this to say about tonight's game. You got people coming to their game. Might be their first time coming to a Bruins game. Got people that have been committed all year. We want to make sure we're playing the right way and finishing strong here at home. Joe Sacco, once again, continuing to kind of just take the brunt of things, but I do like this from Joe Sacco. Obviously, he's been a great coach this year for what he's been given. Hasn't been the way we wanted it to, but having this reaction from Joe Sacco, this is a fan's coach right here. Seeing these reactions from a coach coming up saying, this may be the first hockey game you're ever going to see. Maybe the last. You never really know. You want to win this game for the fans, and I know that's how the players are feeling. I know that's how the staff is feeling, but the fans who may be just watching this on TV, maybe have never been to a game, maybe have been to so many games that this game don't really matter to see in person. For the best for the Boston Bruins, heading into next season, from a logical, mathematic, fan, better team standpoint, it is best to lose, because we know the Bruins do not have what it takes to be able to get anywhere else in this season, and ultimately showed throughout this year. But I wanted to take a look at, this one here from Connor Ryan as well, kind of breaking down exactly what I just said, but going into a bit deeper and a bit more of a cleaned up aspect. Says, now we'll take a loss for the Boston Bruins against the Devils to guarantee that number 4 designation, which not only puts the Bruins in a solid position to move up to number 1 or 2 via the lottery, but would also guarantee that the team should be able to select at least one blue chip center like Anton Frundell, James Higgins, or Caleb Denoyer, with a pick in that number 4 to 6 range. And we're going to get into those picks here in a moment, going over where we are in those stance points. But as Connor Ryan here said, it's very important that the Bruins do lose this game, and I do understand the fact that they want to win for the fans and whatnot, but for the better of the team, it would be a good loss here. And kind of going back into this as well, and we're looking at the points here on this side of things. The Bruins currently sitting at 29th overall. The win puts them up to 6, just below the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres have more regulation wins, though, so they will stay at the 7th overall pick. But it does put into perspective the Bruins, not doing his Hank even right. Obviously, it was good after the deadline and everything. All the trades were perfect, and putting it into perspective here. But these last few games should not feature a win, and ultimately we have so far in this season. But now taking a look at what we're going to be looking for the Bruins and those players that were just mentioned by Connor Ryan. When we're heading over to our draft targets, we have a few guys from this 2 to 6 range. Michael Misa, Porter Martone, but 3 centers here are the more interesting ones in James Higgins, Anton Frundell, Caleb Denoyer. And we're going to be taking deeper dives into these guys here as the days come by, and especially over the next few days when the Bruins are now going to be ending their season here tonight. But James Higgins, local Boston College guy. Anton Frundell, someone very similar to Alexander Barakov, and someone the Bruins are missing in this Patrice Bergeron style over the last little while. And Caleb Denoyer, another very, very talented center here out of the CHL. I like all 3. I'll be honest with that, but we're going to be taking deeper dives into those. Michael Misa and Porter Martone, obviously likely that 2 and 3, much better position, but the Bruins need a center. We know that. And we're going to be taking a deeper dive into that here as we head over into these final few days of the NHL regular season from the Boston Bruins. And we head into the playoffs, we're going to be getting a lot of stuff there. But one final thing before we finish this video off here, we have a report from Scott McLaughlin here that Charlie McAvoy is the Boston Bruins nominee for the King Clancy Memorial Trophy, presented to the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice, as he's made a noteworthy humanitarian contribution in his community. So congratulations to Charlie McAvoy on that. Obviously not the season he's wanted to have, but it's a nice little piece to end the season there for him. But that's all I got in this video. Let me know what you think, or who, I guess we could say, you think is going to be resigning from the Boston Bruins reportedly tomorrow from many people, not Don Sweeney or Cam Neely, according to Frank Cervalli. So let me know who you think about that, as well as let me know what you think about the Bruins game tonight, how you think they should line up, and what we're going to be looking at in terms of draft pick here when it does come down to the final regular season game. Let me know what you think about all that in the comments below. That's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy it, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.